I'm Geoff Kersey, and in the last programme you saw me take this painting to the halfway stage. So now I'm going to paint the upper part of the middle section using cerulean blue, which matches quite well the actual paint that's been used on the bridge itself. I've got a number 4 brush, and I'm going to take a ruler, putting that along the top edge of that middle section and pushing my fingers underneath it to raise the edge I'm going to run the brush along. It's very important that you run the ferrule of the brush along the rule rather than the hairs. And I'm just bringing the number 4 brush in and taking that right the way across, breaking in the middle there and then carrying on again to that side there. I'm just going to tidy that up a little bit. There's a couple of uprights either side of this emblem in the centre, and then it's the same thing across the bottom edge. Bringing that right in to meet the tower there. Now while that's drying, we'll go on to work on the lower part. I'm going to take a little bit of the background colour, a little bit of Naples yellow and light red. I'm going to touch a little bit of that in underneath that cerulean blue. Try not to touch it, I'm trying to leave a slight white line separating them. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the grey, the cobalt blue and light red, and touch some of that in as well into there. And then we'll need to come back to that a bit later. Then I'm going to take some more of the grey. This is the cobalt blue and light red, and I'm going to put a sort of grey strip on the upper level sandwiched between the 2 blue stripes. Then if we look at the underside of this upper level, it's quite dark. There's quite a dark, strong tone because it's in shadow. So still with the number 4 brush, I've got cobalt blue and light red again, and I'll need the ruler again for this, and this is going directly underneath that bottom cerulean blue stripe. Just tidy it up a bit. I can let it run in slightly into the blue. Now, whilst I've got this dark colour, there's a little bit of shadow under the blue across there. Right the way through. A little touch along the top, almost a shadow under the very top handrail. And then there's a couple of supports. And then there's a crisscross of metalwork, almost like a lot of X shapes. Again, these strokes are better off if they're done rapidly. Now a little bit of grey into that shield shape in the centre. And then while that's drying, we can do a little bit more work on the lower bridge. I've got more cerulean blue, still with the number 4 brush, and there's quite a bit of ironwork supporting this lower bridge, and it's some of it's painted cerulean blue, some of it's quite dark, so we'll do the cerulean blue first. Okay, and then there's the curved metalwork underneath that. Now I can carry on now. That this needs some shadow into it, rather like the upper level did. Cobalt blue and light red, quite a strong mixture. And let's put some shadow almost under a handrail right along the top there. Then below that, Mix a bit more of that colour. And then to emphasise that steelwork under there, I'm putting a bit of dark to the left of each little stroke. And just finish it off with a touch of dark right underneath to really emphasise that it is further forward than all the background work. Then I'm going to take a little bit of raw sienna and burnt sienna. And there's a hint of gold in this detailing right at the top in the centre. That just adds a little splash of extra colour. And then transferring to the number 2 brush, we've got a couple of flagpoles either side of that. Again, a quick stroke of the brush, a bit more paint on it, but a quick stroke of the brush will describe that a lot more effectively than being too slow. Just to finish this little emblem in the middle, I'm just doing a few shadowy marks with the dark grey just to suggest the detail of the coat of arms. So now that both parts of the middle section are complete, we'll look at the bridge at the left-hand side. I'm going to start again with a number 4 brush and a good mixture of cerulean blue. And I'm going to try and put this curve in right down from the tower to the bridge itself. I find the best way to do this is a single sweep of the brush. And then a single sweep of the brush for the bottom part. Strengthen it slightly. Then from here it climbs up the other side, so it's the same again, disappearing off the side of the paper. And a bit of dark right in the centre where they meet. I'm swapping over now to the number 2 brush and some more of the grey mixture, the cobalt blue and light red, for some of the suspension detail. I'm going to try and do these without the ruler, and again it involves using a quick stroke of the brush. They don't need to be too strong, it can be fairly pale, it's just that same grey again. And a bit more detail. Sort of crisscross of detail across here. And now we're on to the lower part of this bridge. So more cerulean blue. Number 4 brush. Again, putting my fingers underneath it so that it raises it enough to get the ferrule of the brush against it rather than the hairs. And a sweeping line right the way across. Put a bit more into that now, thicken it up a bit. And then get that nice strong mixture of dark grey for underneath the bridge, again using the ruler. I'm going to strengthen that up a bit, add a bit more pigment to it, and just work my way along, following the nice straight line I've already put in. Now that just needs a little bit of time to dry before we finish it. I'm just putting a little dark mark with the cobalt blue and light red grey mix into the centre there. And still with that mixture of grey and the number 4 brush, we'll just put a little dark line across the top to sharpen it up. And then there are lots of little rectangles painted in a light cream colour across here. So I'm going to take a small brush, a number 2, and get some Naples yellow, fairly thick, so I can take advantage of the fact that it's opaque. And there's lots of little, like a cream coloured rectangle built into the bridge, repeated all the way along. Make sure that paint's nice and strong. And now I need to repeat those steps to complete the bridge at the right hand side.